Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. It is time to begin Volume 7 with Episode 1, The Greatest Kingdom. I am Eatski's bag of daddy issues, Mediocrity 4.
It's me, high-powered, running high off of BlizzCon, which surprisingly not too many... Well, I actually didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. But got a new WoW expansion, and we got a new RWBY. It's that time of year again, guys. It's happening again. And I'm looking forward to the ride with y'all.
Yeah.
I am so busy right now that I forgot we had this podcast today, which might tell you a little bit about how I feel about the opening of this volume. I don't hate it. It's just kind of fine or whatever. I'm Dude, what the heck?
And I am inevitably going to be talking a lot about Avengers Endgame in this one. I've got a few points to make about it from this episode. I am Robert.
And though I have been in the hospital, had the fucking infection taken out of my brain, had the side of my head and become extremely weak compared to what I used to be, I'm still strong enough to kick the ass of anybody from the fucking tundra. I'm fucking Coop.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not gonna touch that one. But anyway, this episode, I think the first thing
Do you just want to talk about the OP? Kind of working in reverse?
I was gonna address where this episode falls production wise first, and then I guess yeah, we could talk about the OP after that.
Yeah.
Talk about the OP first, because I don't care about that.
Okay.
All right,
And I have
cool.
to go.
Well,
I want to talk about where the production thing is actually way more interesting to me. Talk about the OP first, because I don't give a shit.
okay. OP first then.
Alright.
So it was kind of a jam. I really like.
The song's good. I do actually like the song.
Yeah, the song's
Yeah.
good, and I didn't pay attention to lyrics like every single volume. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Bye. I'll be
Take
back
that,
later.
Sorrel.
Yeah. Okay, dude will be back when he can.
I thought it was kind of funny for me though, because when I was sorry, we're still good?
Yeah, we're still good.
Okay, good. Okay, so before I even watched the episode, I saw like the Twitter post from Miles and Carrie saying, "Hey guys, there's going to be some spoilers in the OP that'll spoil some things for the episode. So watch the episode first, then the OP." And immediately I was just like, "Oh, Penny's back." So I just thought that was fun.
Yeah, Rooster Teeth did say to watch the episode before the OP, and apparently that's why they didn't release the OP ahead of time like they usually do. They still haven't released it to YouTube as we're recording this. They will probably do that on this coming Saturday. So by the time you guys are watching this, in conjunction with episode 2 being released for first members.
Yeah. So that was just funny, and we'll talk about the Penny's return in a little bit. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna
I thought that was
do.
just kind of funny.
So with this opening, I should say, the song was a little unmemorable. It didn't hook me the way that Volume 6's opening did. I don't think it's as boring as Volume 5's opening, but it's not like it's not as much of a jam as Volumes 4 or 6, let alone Volume 1, which I think still has the best opening song. But this one is a lot more stylish and a lot better animated. Like the action scenes that they have in it actually have choreography and not like whatever the fuck was going on in the goddamn Volume 4 opening.
This is, I would argue, the most anime of all the openings they've ever done.
Yeah.
I was mentioning this earlier. If you join our Discord, you can hear these conversations before the podcast starts. And the link should be somewhere in the description.
Yeah.
I was talking with the other guys here. It's like the I don't know how much like spoilers are in the OP because we're only one episode in, but there's a lot of themes that are floating around in the OP that will probably be worked on. And like the two big ones for me is kind of like the prevailing like running theories right now is I don't know if this person's name is correct, but Robin Hill, which is the tan-skinned, white-haired lady.
Yeah, I think that is God, I can't remember if it's in one of the headlines that's on the wall or if they release a cast list. I think it's both actually. I actually have the episode pulled up in front of me to actually check this shit. So I'm gonna look for that.
But so there's two themes that I kind of want to like that I feel are brought up in the OP. The first one mainly is like the prevailing thought process in the community, which I don't know how actually prevailing it is, but this is just my personal shitty opinion, is that Robin Hill is either A, the maiden in that area, is going to be the maiden for this like story arc, or B, like the theme for like her fighting Tyrion is like, oh well, she's got to fight them because she's got to fight Salem to save Mantle or whatever, theme wise.
Yeah, their name is definitely their name is definitely Hill. I can't the poster when they're walking there's the shot of someone like hanging a poster on a lamp post.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize she was a woman until like the second
Hill
time
is
watching
here.
the OP.
And the best part is she's my type of woman too also.
There you go.
That's the best part. We got a lot of brown anime women in this episode.
Yeah, the amount of brown-skinned people has increased quite a large bit.
The conquistador blood in me is just like rushing to my conquering bits.
But yeah,
if you're a
the headline,
or if you like chicks who are who have tan lines, then these are the episodes for you. Now's a good time to get in.
Yeah,
really
one of the headlines says election imminent, Mantle hometown hero versus Atlesian tycoon. And then the only other word that can be seen is council. So this is an election for like a council seat, and you have this Hill person running against, according to judging by the OP, I'm going to assume that it's Jacques that she's running against, which has some interestingly weird thing about it is that
they both kind of want the same thing.
Yeah, they both don't like the embargo. I wonder like what the I'm worried that they forgot that Jacques was very adamantly against the embargo back in Volume 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just going like, nope, Orange Man bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so back to the OP.
One thing I was wondering about with the OP, and I brought this up, and for the most part, people kind of shrugged it off, but like, I don't know, the way the OP presents them, like at the beginning, it shows them all in their Volume 5 outfits and stuff like that, or I think
they're Mistral outfits. We'll call them their Mistral outfits.
Okay. But I think we also get a shot of like their veil outfits. I can't remember.
Yes, we do. I'm looking at it now. So
we
get like the stylish silhouettes, then we see them on the cliff, like looking at Atlas as a cool, stylish, like little distant. And then arguably my favorite part of this opening is right after the title, because I'm kind of a sucker for those like shonen action series that show
the My Hero Academia money shot.
Grown. No, it's not the money shot. It's the Naruto-esque fucking like in Naruto Shippuden opening 16 where like young Naruto's running through the battlefield and it's like young Naruto with the goggles, and then he passes a rock and it's like part 1 Naruto with his orange jumpsuit, and then passes another rock and it's Shippuden Naruto, passes another rock and he's like full Kyuubi cloak. Like that, I love it when openings do that. My Hero has done that a few times with Deku, I think. But I've seen Dragon Ball do this with its endings, not with its openings. It's done that a couple times with its endings. But I'm kind of a sucker for that, even though like I'm back in my head, I know these characters haven't grown all that much since Volume 1. But it kind of fools you into thinking like, oh wow, they've really come a long way. We've been doing this
Yeah.
for over 6 years now, and look how far they've come. Like Yang used to not have a robot arm and used to like have like a decent outfit for a while,
Yeah,
and now
And
look
then
at
she stumbled back into a fucking shit outfit.
yeah.
yeah. She
Yeah.
just became more horrendous
Yeah.
due to the robot arm. I
But
believe the robot
But
is
so
causing.
so that opening had me thinking like, oh, or I don't know, had me thinking we might be like because of the transition into like the new outfits, had me thinking there might be that we might be getting like a time skip or something like that, like between like volume like episodes 2 and 3 here or something like that.
Like a
Hopefully not
week.
like sending them back to school or anything like that. Fuck no, fuck that. But like
Hold up, you've got to send them back to school because that's when Blake dressed like a prostitute. So she might have been a trollop in
no,
actuality
fuck
too.
that. Fuck that. No, just
She,
but like there might be a time skip where they're like interning for these Elysian Aesops or whatever. Like I don't know, that might be kind of interesting. Although it would, I don't know, feel like it would. Although I guess it might also, I don't know,
Yeah.
kind of make our the last time skip feel, I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know. I guess.
So then we get
Anyway, that was something else.
and we've already talked about their outfits in the last podcast, so I don't think we need to go into that here anymore.
Yeah.
yeah,
Not until we see them in action later in the volume. Then we get the shot of Ironwood, and he's looking at a map. We see Atlas. We see it kind of tethered to Mantle. We get all these constellations, which are they're not Earth constellations, but as far as I found, they are constellations found in our galaxy, or ones that are close, and they just tweaked them a little bit because fantasy world. But more interestingly, Amity Coliseum is
Yeah, Amity Coliseum, which is later on in the episode, basically gets explained away where it's like, oh no, the drone lost connection with the remote controller. It's just going to GPS home, and that's essentially what it did from Professor Person Man.
no, I think what
Well,
happened.
no, what they said is that they like somehow, or they transported it back.
they
to
recovered it.
Atlas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Atlas kind of like came in probably about the same time, probably with the same like caravan and stuff that Jacques joined to get Weiss and bring her back home. Also just happened to pick up Amity Coliseum, and with it, a certain ginger robot.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing that I want to mention too is is in the trailer, like we see Watts doing his Hacker Man stuff, and then it immediately cuts
that's a little later.
Yeah, and then it immediately cuts to the lead of the Ace team, which I refuse to call them the Ace
No,
team.
it's backwards. It goes that shot with Ironwood in the map, zooms in on Ironwood, then we get the Aesops.
And it's the main dude of the
then
Aesop.
we get Watts. And then we get the entire team. We get the main dude whose name is Clover. We get the rest of them. And then it has this match cut where it's them, but then it's them on a screen with Atlas Operatives FLD _ Ace. And it's Watts' screen. Brief note.
So either he's
we
spying
don't
on them or
know-
potentially manipulating them.
Yeah, we don't know.
My shitty headcanon is that the Clover is Watts' bastard son, and that's my shitty headcanon.
yeah. I'd say it could be that
Weird theory.
they could use them. I would say that would probably be the more surprising thing to do. So that might be the more predictable thing that they would try. But who knows?
Yeah. So we got Clover. We got somebody who we see later in the opening has like a hammer. We get someone who looks like the Vision back when Marvel tried making the Vision look flesh colored. Then we get another like brown anime waifu with a mohawk and with like blonde spikes. And then we have a wolf boy, Faunus. Um,
Are you,
so yeah,
or is it a
there's
furry with a butt plug tail? Is the real question we have to ask ourselves.
It's a faunus.
Who knows? Who can tell? You have to pull down those pants to actually get a good picture of it.
We'll assume it's a faunus.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this show, despite becoming more mature, is still geared towards a younger audience.
So wolf
They
tail
won't
butt
go
plugs are out of the question then. Got
Yes.
it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, he's actually just a half furry. Sad.
Yeah, so we have Watch doing the like really typical like typing, but he's obviously
Hackers.
not really typing because typing animation is or animating someone really typing is hard. And this brings me to a theory that I'm kind of dreading, which is that they're gonna try having a Russian hacker allegory with him.
Yeah, because that topic didn't become dated in 2017.
Or even 2016 when they tried doing it with the DNC emails.
Or even 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
dated
right.
and
The
it's
first
stupid,
Democratic
and yeah, and these guys are not good at political allegory, so they.
Yeah.
And remember, if you aren't interfering with other people's elections, you aren't trying. You do it all the time.
Yeah.
And they try to do it to us. We learned it from the British, who learned it from the French. This is like the oldest trick in statesmanship in the book.
Yeah, the only time it becomes like really illegal is when they start stuffing the ballots, so to speak. When they actually like hack our computers and start like putting in artificial votes, which has not happened. Because guess what? Like information influences people.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully they're not trying that shit. But
yeah.
But let's see how.
I think we can now get into the.
Yeah, I think we have like a scene of Tyrion fighting Crow and Hill, which means Snowbirds now has competition because Crow's now shared OP time with another female.
Yeah.
Sad.
This is true.
Very, very sad. I was too into Snowbird before. I can't condone this.
Yeah, same here. I want Snowbird to happen, but I wouldn't really be sad if this happened.
I don't care. We haven't even met this woman yet. So
this woman does have white hair, and she's tan, so she might be a better waifu than
Winter.
Also, she's probably closer to his age.
The real shoe drops whenever she's just a bastard kid of Jock.
Is the real shoe drop great? Is if Winter and her both fought each other over who got Crow.
That would be even better.
Who knows? Anyway, we also get a bit. We also get kind of a shot for verse shot of Winter and Weiss, and then.
Yeah, we get
a little bit of a family feud there. Again, I really, really hope that they actually take the time to develop Whitley as a character, even if he is an opponent. There's still ways that you can flesh him out and stuff like that, and make him interesting, and make him maybe even try to make him sympathetic because he's just a kid. He's younger than Weiss. It's like, come on, let's treat him like an actual person. But
hell, I'd actually be even fine if they
then Whitley should become the hacker man for the good guys.
I mean, I would be perfectly fine if there was between Whitley and Weiss that they try to mend some fences at least. I mean, they don't have to like each other, but they can at least be amicable around each other. So I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like at least have. I feel my biggest fear is that Winter and Weiss aren't even going to try to get through to him, but they're going to be all like, judgy of him for following their father. Like, oh, but his love is so conditional, and it's all like, and yours isn't. While simultaneously treating him like crap and being like, and yours isn't. But anyway,
we'll
that's just speculation at this point.
Rewinding a little bit, so back to like Watson, we have the silhouette of Tyrion dancing around. It transitions with a gunshot through Tyrion, and Ironwood and it uses the shatter effect to cut to Ironwood, who then gets enveloped by fog, and then that's when it cuts to. That's how it transitions to Jacques and Whitley, and then kind of match cut to Weiss and Winter. Weiss is looking really sad, and Winter is looking stoic, and then another cut to Maria and Pietro. So apparently they're gonna stay together, and then we get the big. Then we get the big shonen ass group shot.
The money shot
of them all like standing on buildings with the like kind of off pan. Is that the
it's where they have like the 3 layers. It's got like the layers on it. They've got 1 layer, 2 layers.
Well, no. What I'm saying is so everyone calls any kind of camera movement like a pan, but pan I think is only left to right. And like forward backward is dolly, I think, and then I can't remember what up and down are. Maybe up and down is dolly.
But yes.
Well, a dolly zoom is where you zoom out on the background while keeping like focus on the person's face and stuff like that. But
yeah. But point is they're all hero poses.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we get the reason why this isn't on YouTube yet. Penny.
Yep.
And her big goofy smile, and I love how her little bow has the power system, universal system for standby on it.
Oh.
Also, I have seen the on YouTube.
I'm back, y'all.
Hey, dude, we're still talking about.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to hell.
What are you talking about?
We're still on the OP.
Oh, cool. All right, then I didn't miss anything. Awesome.
We shared some theories about Watts.
No, the world revolves around me. I didn't miss anything.
Typical Californian. Gosh.
I'm originally from New Jersey, just so you know. High power.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah.
I know.
You think but less of us in the flyover states. At least Texas used to be a country.
Anyway.
Robert nervously laughs in Utah.
Yeah, Robert laughs in Mormon.
Let me tell you what the real best state is here, people. Okay, it's Virginia. Okay, everything about Virginia is good, including the fact that there's tons of cops here. I don't care that our state legislature got shifted over to Democrat today. I'm not sad about it. Everything's fine, you guys. I swear.
We need to change Coop's name to Coop right now.
You sound like that drug they ran into in this episode. Virginia is the greatest state in the world.
High powered, you actually made me spit out water right there.
You're welcome.
You actually made me spit out water right now. Oh, that's amazing. And now I'm cold.
Yeah. So anyway, after that we get the fucking action montage.
Which John got an upgrade to his shield. Yeah. Some sort of hard light thing to his shield, which is cool.
Yeah.
Did we talk about Chad Jean already?
No, we haven't. We did in the last. We kind of did in the last podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Now that I've seen the OP, I really like Chad Jean. I'm gonna be honest because he looked like a loser throughout the entire series, and I understand it's kind of like a little cognitive dissonance to go through like what he looks like now. But he looks like he's supposed to be a huntsman now. He never looked like he was supposed to be a huntsman, even when he got his redesign in Volume 4. And like he put the the Pyrrha sash and all, he still looked like a loser, a lovable loser, but he still looked like a loser. And Chad Jean doesn't look like a loser. So I like
just as long as he gets laid before getting that haircut. That is the only way you can justify looking like a Chad. You have to actually be one.
He at least looks like I should take him seriously though now.
Yeah.
Yes. The main part that makes you take him seriously is the fact that in the OP he actually does look as though he might be fighting slightly okay now. Finally,
Yeah.
Yes,
And he does it. And
exactly.
he does in the episode as well.
Yep.
He handles the sabers or whatever pretty handedly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
doing that
He
fight that
looks like
Oscar
he knows
does,
what he's doing now.
Yeah. Well, and then especially like that bit, whenever like Nora jumps away after Ren, I thought they did like another upskirt gag, but then after like watching it the second time, it's like, oh, she's just mad Ren just like rushed off, and then springboards off John because John's a support
Never
class.
leave your girlfriend's side, dude. Also, Stormflower actually did something in this episode. That's
Yeah.
Also-
we'll get to the actual
Anyway,
episode.
sorry, we'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
We're also a whole episode into Volume 7, and Ren and Nora haven't kissed yet.
True.
hold up. There is one more thing about Jean
up?
from the OP. If you notice his weapons, they've been upgraded yet again. So they emit some energy.
Yeah. Robert said the hard light. It looks like hard light.
He's got
dust.
a Warhammer power sword, or
Maybe
more
more
blade
specifically
through
a relic blade.
I-
Actually,
Yeah, because it kind of looks like he cut through something, like he was cutting through enemies with it or something like that.
that'd be a Warhammer relic blade then, a Warhammer 40k relic blade, which is they take a normal sword and then they turn it into a power sword.
Well, I was talking about with like his shield. But
Well, yeah. Oh wait, with
So-
the shield. That's cool.
Yeah.
So one thing that kind of
of
bugs me, and Jean does it, and so does the Hammer Bro here.
Mhm.
They hold their weapons in a reverse thing, like they're knife fighting.
Oh, yeah, never do that. That is horrible sword fighting. I don't
Especially,
care
like-
what that
also horrible.
stupid.
It's-
I don't care what
it's
Darth
also
Vader's,
horrible.
how Darth Vader's apprentice fights. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's with the lightsaber, whatever. It's fucking Star Wars, and I can even forgive it with Jean. I noticed it, and then I noticed the dude doing it with the fucking hammer. You are
Yeah.
not going to get any leverage holding a hammer like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Like with the sword, if you do have enough upper body strength, you can make use of a blade like swinging it like that. It's really the shorter the blade is, actually the more efficient that is, because I mean that's how people use knives when the in knife fights.
No,
but-
okay, let me fucking adjust your bullshit.
Wait, what is
Media.
the specific thing you're talking about here again?
You're talking about holding a weapon
when
like-
the dude with I don't have anything here that I can demonstrate with, but basically when they swing like this, where they bring their elbow in like that.
Oh, is this during the fight scene or is this during the OP?
OP. The dude with the
Basically, it's
hammer
holding
is
a weapon
the dude.
backwards.
Yeah, he's holding the hammer backwards.
Oh, that, yes.
It's
I
like
just
a
saw that.
backhand
Yeah,
tennis
yeah.
swing, essentially, is what he's doing.
Yeah, those,
Yeah.
you'd break your wrist doing that, basically,
Yeah,
from what I can
and it leaves
tell.
you very limited. Also, after your first like swing, you can now only go like one way and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It limits you.
And
That
a
is
couple-
not how you fight with any kind of weapon.
A couple more things on Jean real quick, sorry, because I had to, get my stuff going because I came back. I was out and now I'm at my computer. His boots look like actual like boots now instead of like cheesy, like, and the sneakers always bugged me. I mean, they made
Yeah.
sense for what he was, but these are like
Now he's in
actual
Tim's.
Huntsman boots. No, he was in Tim's before. He was in black Tim's with the second boots. These are like elf boots or some shit.
These are
Um,
combat
and-
boots, okay? They're lightweight and they're made.
They're
so
lightweight. Yes, they're
run
elf
through
combat boots,
the
but
battle.
he's still wearing like blue pants, but they don't look like ratty jeans anymore. They look like, you know what I mean? That was always something that still made him look like a noob.
Yeah,
So
now they're
I mean, I
clean
still prefer
cut.
jeans, but okay.
not in this universe. Like I wear jeans a lot, like, but not in this world. Like jeans, like it was very obvious that his jeans made him look like a casual.
He got some navy blue Cry Precision pants without the knee pads.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm fine with him looking like a
jeans-
casual.
I'm
Well,
not
hold on.
anymore. I think he needs to be more serious now, and he looks like it.
I guess.
I can't.
If I
I
recall-
was bored. He was getting boring as I don't want him as a joke anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like he can still. He doesn't have to. He can
That-
look and Yeah, he can look like a casual and still not be a joke. But anyway,
Yeah, but I still would prefer to have him look like he should be taken seriously. That's
Okay.
me. I mean, we can disagree. We can totally disagree. That's
Yeah,
fine.
all right,
That's
all right.
just
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
this
still
way.
on
This way, the fandom will only be mad at one of us in this argument, not both of us. It's great.
Well, John can't look casual because he's not CIA and he doesn't glow in the dark. So there's that.
If he was wearing some sunglasses, though, then we'd be in business.
with a I'm not CIA shirt.
Yes.
Oh god, Once Upon a Time in Mexico was a really good movie.
So
But yeah, so you don't want to carry a sword backwards. You don't want to carry a hammer backwards. It just doesn't
yeah.
work.
So next we have the shot of Robin Hill, just kind of leaning,
Didn't we also have a shot of Blade?
letting people go full Ferguson riot on the screen. We get like a flash of Jacques when the screen cracks.
Yeah, which has me thinking maybe Jacques is like somehow still pulling Ironwood strings or something like
Which
that.
again is not what the case was in Volume 4. Jacques was very much against Ironwood in that.
I mean, it could be that he's like pulling his strings and he doesn't even know it or something like that. Like
Or he's
like,
just trying to hit it from
like
both
he took
sides.
what he said about being on my good side seriously and was like, okay, yeah, I'll stay on your good side until I no longer need you.
Or it
And then
could
we
be
have-
that
See how
he's
that goes.
pulling the strings and neither of them hit it.
Yeah. It goes to Jeb Bush.
It's a shame. I could have bought one of his guacamole bowls, and I should have, but I didn't.
Please clap.
Wait, are we calling? I was gonna say, please clap. Is Ironwood Jeb Bush? I thought he
No.
was a Trump
No.
allegory.
I would say out of
Ironwood
like
is
all of the
Trump.
candidates that were up, who would
I mean, we were
Ironwood
gonna say
actually be?
I don't know.
Is Ironwood just Mike Pence? Just reduce the Christian background?
Uh,
And,
Probably
increase
not.
the cybernetics.
Yeah.
Is he Dick
only-
Cheney? No,
No,
is he just George Bush? Is he junior or senior? Though is the real
that
question.
would actually kind of fitting because like
He'd actually
We
be more
look at
fitting
the-
as a less like bumbly George Bush Jr.
yeah, because
Yeah.
what happened with Bush
Wait,
is
senior
that,
or
like,
junior?
Junior.
Junior. I'm talking about Junior.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is that like, he continued running the country pretty good for his first year, or not for most of his first year because he actually got sworn in January 2001. 9/11 happened, and he canceled every single plan he had. He canceled every single promise he made on the campaign trail. He canceled all the bills he was helping get started, and he started dedicating his entire presidency to making sure 9/11 didn't happen again. And part of that, and the most prolific part of that, was the Patriot Act, which is very much what this stuff with Atlas spying on the city of Mantle with the drones and stuff reminds me of. So
Yep,
yeah,
I was gonna say,
it could
yeah.
be
I mean, this
going
reminds me of
with more of a
1984.
Bush
Yeah.
allegory with Ironwood.
It's kind of funny that like people remember him as just like a bumbling Republican president, but he actually cut a lot of freedoms in a very bad way,
Yeah.
which is kind of what you
Unfortunately, yes.
are not
Which is
supposed to do.
which is why I don't defend
So
him.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
defend him either because of that. So
I don't
that-
defend him either,
issue.
and I'm
And
on
we
the right.
panicked and things got
That is-
bad. Yeah, things got rough.
That is because
Losing
he was
freedom
a-
is always bad. Freedom over safety.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Uh,
all of us. I think all of us are basically in that
Yeah.
political position of freedom over safety. So
Yeah, and interesting thing with that when it comes to Pietro that I really want to kind of get on a soapbox on, a positive soapbox, and
Okay.
I kind of alluded to it and mentioned it a little bit in my review, but I want to elaborate on that point.
Okay.
Go right
But
ahead.
then we get Ironwood versus Oscar. We get more
So is
action
he
shots of them
training
fighting
him,
like the
or
mega
is
beads.
he trying to beat him up? Because
Who
I'm hoping that
knows?
he's trying to beat him up. Because
I feel it's more of a theme statement at this point. It's just going to be
Yeah.
the struggle between the two of them.
yeah,
beat his face in
Yeah,
and
he
shoot him in the
Yeah.
spine so we can't walk again and he can get out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. I don't think he's training him, one, because he doesn't need training, and two, because he's got Ozpin inside him.
Well, like we
Oh,
said, Oscar was like, the one who needed help in this fight. He was doing, like, he did worse in this fight than Jean did, so maybe they've nerfed him again, or are still nerfing him from Volume 5, but who knows?
So that we get more action shots of Blake and Weiss and stuff fighting the Centipede Grim.
I'm assuming that was in like the Schnee,
It's in the mines. It's in the Dwarf Fortress under Mantle.
That's kind of interesting. Wonder how Weiss is going to feel. Well, I mean, I'm sure they won't mind protecting people and stuff like that, even if it does mean helping her father's company. But
yeah,
I mean, you can't exploit slave laborers if there's no slaves to exploit.
Well, the other irony too is Weiss will have to realize this. It's like, well, if her dad goes out of business, like all these jobs just go away if no one can run the mine.
From the start, her loyalty has been to the company, her grandfather's company, not to her father. So
yeah, well, this is also true there in that point.
So
what
the next
you guys
thing
are forgetting is that it's supposed to be all Faunus working in these mine shafts, and Weiss is supposed to be racist against them. She should not be helping them at all, and quite frankly, I'd be quite pissed off if she did.
She got better.
But she's not racist anymore. I thought that was like established a while ago.
Yeah.
No, she's just holding out on her.
Nah, she's got full. Nah, she went full on white guilt in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought she went full on white guilt a long time ago.
She really expressed it this episode.
Yes. Okay, that's true.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
The next thing in the opening is Tyrion fighting Robin and Crow, which has led to the very prevalent theory that Robin is the maiden. We don't know if it's the winter or summer maiden. It really doesn't matter.
They just don't want her winning
because which maiden is which doesn't matter because they fucked it up to where like all the maidens just have the same powers anyway. So it doesn't matter which maiden she is. But if she is the maiden, it made me think that she might be fiercely loyal to Ozpin and might be running because Ironwood is not following Ozpin's plan.
So just trying to,
a plan that we know and our heroes doesn't exist, but she wouldn't.
Oh gosh, she's a plan twister. Well, the other thing too, and my counterpoint to that theory is, and as I said before, is it could also fit the potential theme too of the OP where it's like, well, Robin Hill has to fight Salem to save Mantle and Atlas as a whole. Yeah. So there's that. That's
kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. Is they just don't want her like gaining power and stuff like that. She's just a problem that they need removed. But
if she was just a problem or just a politician, she wouldn't be having a weapon and going toe to toe with Tyr.
Yeah,
I guess that's true too. Who knows?
I think it's very likely that she's at least a huntress of some, and that's how she's involved with the.
Well, yeah, she's definitely a huntress and stuff like that, or has some. She definitely has combat experience and stuff like that. Again, maybe an old flame of Crows. That's why he's there helping her out. Or
again, like the fact that Crow's there, I think Crow knows her, knows she's a maiden, and is trying to protect her from Tyrion, who, by the way, has a full-on cybernetic tail now. Back at last volume, it was like the tip. Maybe it like extends to cover the entire thing to keep him from losing any more.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. Is I would just replace the armor with the rest of it.
It's like if you're gonna take half of its sky, might as well just take the rest of it. Screw it, whatever. It's okay.
Yeah.
Ain't no biggie.
Honestly, there's a gun on there too.
High Power, if you're gonna keep doing that, can you at least mute when you do it? Because it's kind of loud.
It's muted on y'all's side. On the recording side. I'm on push to talk right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get you. But last thing. Okay, actually two things. Crow has a new outfit. It's black. We don't have a good shot of it, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then the big group shot to close out the opening.
Can I say
I just-
how happy I am that Crow is far away and that Osktard is far away? Thank you. The end.
Yeah. Again,
I
just shoot the
wanted-
kid in the spine and be done with it.
I'm a
Well,
little
yeah,
But
They
then you'll
both
have
need to
psychic
die. I've been
powers.
saying it forever. They should both die. Get rid of Crow. Get rid of Ostard. I don't care. I do
I
care.
miss
Get rid of
Crow.
them.
Yeah.
They're not going to get rid of Oscar because
No, they're not. But I wish they would. It'd be a better show if they did.
They flirt with
Well,
Rose
well,
Garden
they could,
every
yeah.
volume. They're gonna flirt with it this volume. So
Fuck that.
I
Yeah, they
feel
did
like-
it again.
I
They
feel
did
like
it again in the
Crow is
episode.
like-
I remember. I saw it. I saw the tease. They're always going to do it.
I feel like Crow is like super at risk of it this volume to the point, and like honestly,
In
we
this
could
arc in
really
general.
use that at this point. Like
Yeah.
it's not. There's no reason to keep him alive. We don't need these many characters running around. Just kill somebody.
especially whenever we have
Yep.
another Team Coffee entering the mix for this volume.
Yeah,
I think these
agree.
guys. I'm actually hoping that these Aesops are going to be like Team Coffee done right, basically.
Yeah.
Their excuse for creating Team Coffee was basically, oh, they're here to show us what more advanced and more experienced huntsmen can do, and then that just became complete and total bullshit. So hopefully they're playing with the Aesops is like, okay, we're going to do it right this time. These are actual professionals who are actually going to be there, but they're also going to train these guys and actually help our heroes improve as fighters and stuff like that. Hopefully. Don't just do their jobs for them,
So
Actually help them progress and develop.
I think we can
Then
start
again,
to
you
get.
had
Well,
Crow there
no,
the
I
whole
need
time
to address.
doing
I need
shit.
to address one thing. I need to address one thing, and it pertains to this shot. And it doesn't even really pertain to the shot. It pertains to the self-styled critics, particularly on Twitter. And I already said this on Twitter, but I'm saying it here again. Just because something very, very thinly resembles something else from a show that started after RWBY started does not mean that RWBY is purposely ripping it off. Just because it has a group shot does not make it a ripoff of My Hero Academia. First off, because My Hero Academia ain't the fucking first. Second off, RWBY was doing group shots before My Hero Academia even existed.
Yeah, there was a group shot.
Back in Volume 1.
It's so funny that people make that criticism and how stupid people who make that criticism are when there are so many more legitimate things that you could criticize about RWBY. And then you criticize something that's completely off base and incorrect and ill-founded and wrong. It's like, how stupid are you?
Like, maybe if they were in the exact same pose, they would have an art, but the camera placement isn't even right. If the camera placement was right, then Iron would be like actually dead center and not like kind of off to the side with everyone else. Like really the center line is actually like RWBY's elbow. Is RWBY's elbow, then Blake's shoulder, and then Mohawk Girl.
Yeah, that's the center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, RWBY itself is basically one giant anime ripoff anyway. Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, this is true.
In a lot of ways, so whatever, it doesn't matter.
But a lot of animes are ripoff of other anime, so I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now we can.
You could argue that My Hero Academia is just a ripoff of every other shonen anime that's ever existed, except for it's actually.
What's the saying is copycat is the is it
imitation is
the best form of flattery.
The sincerest form of flattery.
The sincerest form of flattery.
And this isn't even really an imitation, so yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's episode time.
Yeah. Now on to the episode proper. So production thing I wanted to bring up at the start. This episode was meant to be Volume 6, Episode 14.
Yep.
This episode was written by Miles and Carrie. That is actually in the credits. Like Kiersey and Eddie are not given writing credits for this episode. They are credited as story people for the volume as a whole in that credit sequence. But yeah, it was just Miles and Carrie. And I can only.
That's a really interesting thing too, because we don't know. We haven't seen their work yet. Now.
Yeah.
So it could be either like this. The interesting thing is that, like I said before, like this episode was okay, right? It was like fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. But we can't really use it as much as a predictor of the volume, I think, because we don't have the other writers involved, which could either make it much better or much worse or just completely different, sideways, whatever. But that's a very important thing to note because it doesn't have, their hands aren't on it, their fingerprints aren't on it. So we don't exactly know what we're getting. I wouldn't use this as a complete indicator of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Plot wise, it kind of shows some stuff, but not like actual quality.
It was
Yeah.
it was predictable enough as
Well,
far as what happened in it.
and we don't know. Sure, they probably changed some stuff up and added some stuff after Volume 6 had concluded. But the kind of core of this episode, as far as we know, was meant for Volume 6. We don't know what the cutoff is. Like, I heard that it was actually going to end with Penny's reveal. And that was going to be like that was going to basically be the cut to credits moment. So everything after that would have been was basically tacked on to kind of bridge us from this to
The rest of the volume?
meeting up with Ironwood next episode.
Yeah, because thematically, the Mistral arc is done and over.
Yeah.
Whenever Penny shows up.
Yeah.
So now we are fresh into a brand spanking new 2 to 3 volume arc, depending on how.
Which is why they have their old outfits in this episode. Is why this is the first time we haven't had any kind of time skip whatsoever in between volumes.
Yeah.
Between
Which is
volume 1 and
nice.
2, they had a break. Volume 2 and 3, they had I think they went on record to say it was 2 weeks in between volumes 2 and 3. And then between volumes 3 and 4, 6 to 8 months, very vague. Between volumes 4 and 5,
That was a day, maybe.
a couple days, while Crow recovered in the
5, 6
hospital.
was a
Mistral,
week.
before he took them in with Mistral. Yeah, and then 5 and 6 that was a week. This one, no, it's seconds. It's, in fact, the dialogue overlaps. The Manta 5-1, Welcome Home, overlaps with volumes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, as we get into the episode, the first thing that happens is Maria is fucking flying them in on their little thing that they had stolen. And they're just constantly ignoring the radio contact trying to be made by the Atlas guys. And they hang up on them and then land down in the middle of the ghetto.
Yeah. To be fair, we see what happened. We saw what happened the last time Maria handled the radio.
Yes. Maria never handles the radio correctly. It pisses me off because I'm a ground radio repairman. So
that's got to be annoying then.
She handles the radio correctly enough. It wasn't the lingo.
He handled it correctly in universe. They just knew right away, oh, you're an old lady. We don't have any pilots who are old ladies. What's going on? So in universe, she handled it correctly, but yeah.
So they're worried that with how aggressive that the blockade is, that if they roll up in there with a stolen damaged shuttle and without proper identifications, they're going to just get arrested, thrown in prison, and not have a chance to even meet up with Ironwood. So they decide
and literally
to
RWBY is defeated by bureaucracy gang, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Weiss thinks about calling Winter because she works for, I don't know. This is something that kind of annoyed me or kind of had me questioning. So she knows that Winter works for Ironwood, goes to call her, and then we get visual proof that she works for Ironwood, and so she hesitates.
Well, I don't think it's not that she works for Ironwood, it's that she's literally saying the same stuff as Ironwood. You could work for someone and not have.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually made perfect sense to me.
Weiss was probably banking on Winter being a medium between them and Ironwood, someone that Weiss trusts, someone that would trust Weiss and vouch for her and get her to talk to Ironwood, get her to Ironwood, because it's not so much Ironwood's, that's causing them to not want Ironwood. It's Ironwood and his orders, because all his other, literally everyone else working under Ironwood will probably not give two shits about shooting that manta out of the sky.
Which, in all reality,
Yeah.
they should have shot it out of the sky after they like missed that second hail.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. That's true.
Which
Yeah.
kind of makes
I
me
guess-
sad, where it's like, oh, I hope they just show up into Atlas airspace and just get immediately shot down. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah. I guess it just, I don't know. I guess it just feels like, I don't know. Like, we talked about how predictable, we kind of talked about, that this episode was kind of predictable and stuff like that. Like, a part of me feels like with these parts that the characters are a little too surprised by all of this. Like, oh my gosh, my sister is loyal to her commanding officer. Oh my gosh, poverty exists. Oh my gosh, Atlas actually takes things seriously. Oh my gosh, Ironwood's, paranoid. Like, it feels like they would have known most of this stuff. Like, it can be like, I didn't holy crap, we knew what was coming, but we didn't realize it was this bad. And that would have, made sense. But with this, it just feels like
they
this
could
is all
have even
new
been like,
information to them.
like they could have
We
even had like
actually-
a throwaway line from Crow was like, "Oh, I heard it was bad, but I didn't realize it was this bad." Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Went
Like,
to
a
the
line
bar
like
at
that-
Argus, and he was like
That's what it is, it
picked up
just feels
some
like-
gossip.
Yeah, it just feels
I-
like they haven't really been paying attention to what's actually been going on. It's like,
I
look how
am
far hard it was
weirdly
to get for you to get this far. You think it was going to be easier from here?
I am
I will
weirdly
say-
disagreeing with Robert a lot on this podcast because I disagree with that too, honestly. Not a ton, like not a lot. Like I get what you're saying. But I don't really have a problem with it, especially because like they, besides Weiss, they don't really know exactly what Mantle's like. And I think they would all expect Atlas to be the nicest, cleanest, bestest place ever, right? That's why it's called the Greatest Kingdom. So I can understand why they're surprised.
I guess.
And I think even Weiss, like, she's probably never really been to Mantle. She's probably used to Atlas. So she's
Well,
expecting like
it's-
her
I
own
guess, but,
area
like-
to be.
but, like,
And
Blake was
one more
earlier-
thing, hold on, one more thing,
Go
and
ahead,
then
sorry,
you guys can go.
sorry.
I definitely understand why she's confused by Winter because here's the thing, we probably don't know exactly what Winter was like position was before, and I think Weiss still sees it. It's not necessarily that Weiss doesn't understand that. I think Weiss knows that like Winter would be like subordinate to Ironwood, but I think she doesn't like what Ironwood's saying. This is why she kind of left like that overly, commanding restrictiveness is why she left and went back with her team in the first place. So she would, and her sister was very supportive of her not listening to authority from her dad, right? So I think that makes sense for why she's surprised Winter is just agreeing with what Ironwood is saying. So that to
Okay,
me makes sense.
I guess,
So
but
the
what
thing-
we've seen
Yeah, I
of
feel
her
you there.
in Three makes me
Hold up.
like-
The thing you have to understand about Winter too, and is that while Winter is okay with Weiss not listening to her father anymore, Winter also wants Weiss to listen to her after that. Like
Yeah.
she still wants to be able to commit her own orders on Weiss, basically. So Weiss is basically, there's like no member of Weiss's family that Weiss can interact with
Yeah,
even.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
why she's even.
Weiss is
That's a
hedging
great
her
point,
bets
Coop.
essentially.
She's even afraid of talking to her sister now. She doesn't
Yeah.
feel safe, like she can tell her what's going on. That's literally no family she can talk to now. That's a great point, Coop. I didn't even think about that exactly. That's a great point to bring up.
I still
see
kind
that.
of wish that she like left a message or something at least to Winter, just to be like, "Oh, hey, I'm back in Atlas," or like sent out a text message. Like, I mean, she's probably gonna notice those missed calls, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I just kind of question those things because it's like, I don't know. And maybe I don't know.
Well, again, like
Maybe it's just that these kids are young and stuff like that, but-
Weiss isn't so much surprised by the living conditions and stuff. She's surprised by the absolute police state. Like she's used to Alice's
No.
defenses being up and stuff, but she's not used to drones just fucking walking around the street taking pictures of random people, the posters everywhere, nonstop broadcasts from Ironwood telling people that Atlas is the greatest kingdom and it will keep everyone safe no matter what, even if all
Does
the
he
other
say it's the
kingdoms
greatest
burn.
kingdom? Or
No, it's the drunk guy that says that.
Yeah. But to
Anyway,
be fair,
It's all
the
there,
guy-
though. It's all there. It's subtext with what Ironwood's saying. Come on.
Fair enough. Okay. I don't know. It seems a little weird to me, but again, like, agree to disagree, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's what's going on isn't something that's like odd. It's just sort of a more advanced state than they thought they were in.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. I
And
think
maybe,
that makes.
maybe their reactions are just holy crap, I didn't realize it was this bad, and maybe they're not necessarily surprised, but just horrified. But who knows? I guess.
Can I also say I like the design of Mantle? I think it looks cool, and I think they've been.
It kind of looks
The
like
steampunk
Argus, but
Victorian
shitty.
look.
It's something they've been stepping up a lot, I think, because I think that what was the place they were, not the city before this one, but like the main setting of Volume 5.
You mean that house in Mistral that they spent most
Yeah,
of the
and
volume
Mistral.
in?
Mistral didn't look amazing. Like, it looked kind of cool from the outside, but like the actual like nitty-gritty didn't look that great, honestly. It looked okay. But then what was like the San Francisco city they went to after that looked really good and felt more immersive. And this does too, honestly. Like, as far as a RWBY world goes, this feels more immersive than Mistral ever did. So I think I really like that. I like the design of the buildings, how they're still like very techie kind of looking and not quite steampunk, which I'm glad they didn't just go for like steampunk, but they're very industrial and kind of modern, yet still a little bit worn down at the same time. I
It's
think they struck that
cyberpunk.
balance
There's like
very
that
good.
touch of con block concrete apartment complexes just
Yeah.
sprinkled
It's-
in there.
It's
Yeah.
basically from a Deus Ex Machina game. It's a cyberpunk setting that they're in now.
But it's not
That's
too
exactly what
cybery.
it-
I like that they didn't go overly cyber also.
Yeah.
It's a good balance, I feel like. I don't know. I like it. I really like the setting, how it feels. That was one thing that really stood out to me in this episode, and I liked it.
And the constant like broadcast of Ironwood
Yes.
and like the drones and stuff like that had me thinking like 1984, which is
Yeah, and it's got a bit of Coruscant to it as well, which I like, because that was one of the few strong points of the
It does,
prequel.
yeah,
trilogy.
it does feel like Coruscant. in
It's
all
got a bit of a
honesty.
Coruscant vibe. It's that same
Yeah.
kind of like industrial, formerly successful kind of look, but then police state with all the broadcasts and the tech. But yeah, I think they did that well.
okay.
And I actually think it
So it looks
works. I actually think it works that like you can see there's people and extras in the back, but it's not too many people because people are
Yeah.
staying inside. I think that works too.
People are staying inside,
So-
staying out of trouble and stuff like that. Yeah, again, 1984.
Or they just
All of
got
that
off of their
works.
612s and they don't have time for this bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. All of that works. So I really like how that all.
But anyway, as they walk through this town, they interact with a few of the locals who.
Well, first
Are you
Yang has her
against
picture
them?
taken by a drone, which she kicks into traffic, which was
Yes.
I thought that was
Funny.
funny. Like
Yeah,
Yank's
It
still
was
a hot
it was
man.
in
Like-
character.
yeah, it was in character.
Yank's
People were like,
still
oh, I
aggressive,
thought she had
even if
her.
she's being smarter
I
in
thought,
fights.
I
She's
thought she
still
had. Yeah, I thought she had her anger issues under control. It's not like this is a living person who she ripped apart. This is a drone that she
Yeah,
kicked
no.
away because it took her goddamn picture without her consent.
Yeah, it spooked her. Like
Yeah, her
like,
nap
she's
was
like,
violated.
Oh, hey, what's this? Holy shit! It took my picture. Pfft. Yeah,
She's
and
lucky she didn't
she's not
throw
going to
thumb
stop
nukes
being
all
a
over the
hot
city.
chick just because she's developed as a character. She's still, an aggressive person. So yeah, people are saying that she hasn't developed. You guys are full of shit. So
Yeah.
anyway,
But yeah, they walk through town. They try to keep their heads under cover, and they basically just follow Maria to the place where she's going to just get her eyes fixed.
And then they experience a Skyrim random encounter.
Yes.
yeah,
They
random
walk
drunk
into
guy
a-
yelling at them, which yeah, whenever I don't know, they were doing okay with the like 1984 satire, but then they tried to go full political satire, and it just got really cringy. So, which is what happened. I don't
Well,
know.
he's not
I
wrong.
don't think this episode. I don't think this was a particularly like poorly written section. The problem is they got one of the fucking animators to voice this guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's the only issue I have. I actually
Yeah, it
have
is
no
hard to-
problem with the actual scene and the setting, especially after seeing the Faunus like all covered in like what is it, oil or whatever on
Well,
the
there's
truck.
both Faunus and Humans in that truck.
On the very World War II-esque military truck, I might add.
Yeah.
It looks like a
It looks like a deuce and a half.
a deuce and a half. Yes, it looks like a deuce and a half. Although I don't think it looks like quite deuce and a half.
And stuff like that. Like people gather at the gates to try and get work for the day, and then they pile them onto the truck and drive them off and stuff, or pick a few of them from the crowd and pile them onto the truck. I don't know.
But it's so like, and the guy's not wrong for being upset. Like the embargo's like, it's just slowly choking that economy there, and Ironwood is keeping the embargo up for his reasons. And I'm assuming that's gonna be the whole like, and I can understand why like these people will be mad. It's because Jock is still probably making money. Maybe not hand over fist though, but everyone else is like, well, they laid off night shift, and then there's only day shift now, and we're only working 8s Monday through Friday, and that's it, 40 hours a week. We don't even get overtime anymore. So like, it's perfectly understandable for him to be mad.
And it's probably even worse than that, honestly.
Yeah, it probably is worse than that. Like, probably a lot of people are fucking like out of the job right now.
Also, that truck looks more like a GMC CCKW, not a deuce and a half. Sorry, that I had to correct that real quick because it was going to bug me if I didn't.
Okay.
Either way.
So you got the drunk guy showing up and kind of, overhears Blake bad mouthing his city and just, lay.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. That's why I don't think it's cringy. I mean, the voice acting was bad, but I don't have a problem with the scene.
Okay, fair enough.
I like it.
Like if that person was a Faunus, that the Faunus could still have the same argument where it's.
And
like,
I also one other thing I liked, and I could be off on this, but I liked how the guy that didn't get his ass handed to him, he kind of like looks confused, and he like kind of wants to talk to them, like, but he doesn't look mad. Like he actually looks like he wants to like have a conversation with them, and like might feel bad or like feel bad for what his friend did. I kind of like that like little human touch kind of thing. I like that.
Well, no, I think if I recall correctly, like from what I thought of it, I thought he was just a drunk guy who felt bad because he couldn't react properly, because he couldn't think on his feet, and he was confused by what happened.
And he was recognizing who Weiss was the other one.
Either way though, like I like that little touch actually that that guy at least still wanted to talk to him. I kind of liked that.
That's fair. But yeah, and then they
play
the race card, and
I didn't think of
Blake. Credit to Blake here; she handles it well. And,
I think
about it, which is
best thing to do would have just been completely ignore him and not even address him or turn back.
Yeah, just walk
I would
away.
quote the Boondocks right now, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, but then Weiss decides to toss the guy in the trash, which I don't know. I
That
guess
feels a little out of character from her. Maybe
a little. I don't know. I feel like in Weiss's defense, she probably could have done far worse. It was probably hopefully it was a soft landing. Also, I don't know, if Weiss hadn't done something, Yang even now, even post character development, probably would have decked the guy.
Yeah, I mean, soft landing into a trash bag full of used heroin needles, man. He might still get a little high and maybe a little bit of STDs from it. You never know.
Yeah. Still not the best way for Weiss to handle it, but I don't know. Could have.
Honestly, it was a perfect way to handle it. Sometimes you just got to throw a drunk guy inside of a trash can.
Get in there, sober up.
This is where you belong.
I kind of like that she did it. I don't have a problem with it. I like Weiss taking action.
Some people are complaining about it and stuff like that, and I understand that, usually with drunks you just want to walk away and, not escalate the situation or anything like that, or,
well, usually
violence and stuff like that with these
people, I'm having fun with them.
It's better to walk away for them to trip on a curb and then piss their pants.
Funny, and Yang would have done something way worse.
Usually you don't want to escalate a situation so that someone doesn't get hurt. But what she did was basically pacify him by using her magic fucking lift powers to throw him into a trash can. So,
which, I mean, if you've got that shit, you might as well use it.
So it's he ain't gonna do shit after that.
Yeah, so I can
Makes
kind of
sense.
understand why people would. So yeah, I understand why some people would say like, "Oh, that's not how you should have handled that," but I was fine with it. It was funny. And
Oh, small touch that I want to add that I appreciate is whenever they land, you see the goons running in the background. It's like, oh, I landed over here, echoes faintly in the distance as you see a bunch of people T-posing in the background as the
Yeah.
main cast walks to the doctor's office.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, they get to the doctor's office. The doctor turns out to be an old black man with a beard and a cybernetic wheelchair that's not a wheelchair. It's got legs. It's a leg
spider
chair.
chair. Or something.
Someone needs to edit in Tim's onto those walking chair's feet really, really bad.
It's
And
like
then-
that. It's like that. It's like
They
that
need to
spider thing that the Viceroy is walking around with in Star Wars Episode 1.
Oh my god, that is what it looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is a
Tim's
straight Star Wars thing. Like the whole thing with like walkers instead of like more convenient and logical things like treads or wheels or hover technology is straight Star Wars.
Yeah,
It is.
but it's
But yeah,
but it's cool.
He does need to have Tim's on there, but he also needs to be wearing digital glasses and smoking a blunt.
He needs to also have a laughing, smiling emoji, laughing, crying emoji stickered on it, and then a few 100s emojis on it too. Also,
Who knows? Maybe that thing can crawl like up to the sides of buildings or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
I swear to
and a
God,
logo that's
There's
and
some
a
places
logo
wheels
that
can't take.
says Robot Builder Gang.
this is sponsored by Animatronics game. No, this
Yeah. Also, he appears to be a bit senile. Doesn't know who Maria is. Like, if she explains who he is, like,
I mean,
oh yeah, you're Maria. Yeah, that's right. I fix your eyes every 10 years. It's about that time, right? Like he just,
but like
it triggered all the memories, but he didn't register that it triggered them because she said them.
Although I have a hard time believing that he would, like, I don't know, like you expect to be remembered by a guy you only see like every 10 years. That's kind of weird to me.
I don't.
Would be something.
it would
Based
not.
on the
I don't remember cars I worked on 3 months ago.
Yeah, based on like how they like interact on each other, it would not surprise me, especially with younger Maria. Even after losing her eyes, those two probably banged a few times. And that guy probably can't even get it up unless something on the lady he's banging out doesn't have something robotic.
Yeah.
So
Let me
that's
tell you
just me and my
something right
shitty
now.
opinion.
Maybe
Maria is
she's
such
she's a really unique case that it's like, oh yeah, I remember a unique case like you or something like that. But who knows?
Maria is such a hardcore sex addict that she is actually the reason why he's paralyzed from the waist down.
If you was gonna say it, I was.
He broke his hip. That's why he needs that's why he needs the chair. She broke his hip.
Permanently broke it. Like,
Oh god, imagine she's
And
sitting
here's-
there and she's getting plowed, but she like plugs in a different like audio feed, so it's like whoever she wants is actually doing it. God, that's
Here's
like
exactly
a weird
what
backwards way of cuckolding.
Maria, a blind woman, wanders into the closest office she can find to replace her eyes. She doesn't have any money on her, so she's forced to strip and say, "Hey, sorry, I can't pay you. Maybe I can make it up to you someday."
This is how hentai started.
Holy shit.
and erotic fan fiction. And I just know, judging by how these podcasts tend to average around like 1 to 2,000 people, I would not be surprised if someone listening to this is already working on that exact scenario.
Someone
And
in
if you are, God fucking speed.
join the Discord and post it.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh gosh.
Let me know in the comments below about your Maria X Pietro hardcore smut.
Dr. Pietro, I can't possibly pay you for these new eyes. Maybe there's something else I can do.
And Pierre's so out of the loop he doesn't even know what's going on. And then he's like that one like shitty poor. It's like, no, please stop. I'm a virgin.
Yeah, that just reminded me of
Maria's Penny's mom.
yeah of the
New
newest
headcanon.
chapter the newest chapter of Quintuplets had kind of a revelation of similar implications with Rena having, Rena's first husband was her teacher, and then her second husband
Wow,
was one of her students.
Runs in the family.
And now you got like fucking Itsuki and all her daughters wanting to fuck their tutor. And it's just like, wow, what a
Runs in the
cycle.
family.
What a tradition.
It's like a poem. It rhymes, or however.
And
that
now we're
line
back
goes.
to Star Wars.
Yep,
It's poetry. It rhymes.
it's poetry. It rhymes.
I love cyclical storytelling though. I love stuff like that.
Anyway.
Yeah, after that, Pietro recognized them as Team RWBY. RWBY's like, you recognize us? Like,
I like how
bitch, you were on public TV.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate
Also,
how like the line gets
your
drawn
arm,
first.
which you painted.
Also, gotta point out, we kind of touched on this already, but I love the background details in this episode. It makes the environment feel so much more alive than Mistral or Vale or even Argus ever did.
I just feel like some
my
of those
favorites-
details are trying way too hard to make us think Pinocchio, like the whale there.
Yeah,
For no
but my
reason, like,
favorite
oh,
is
yeah, Pinocchio. Penny's coming back, isn't she?
yeah, it is in this office. There's a sign that says "Day since last nonsense 0," but nonsense. He ran out of space, so he did the thing where he like starts writing downward. I used to do that as a kid.
Same.
I still do that in my writing sometimes, where I run out of room and then like, no, I gotta try squeezing this word into this line.
I'm a doctor, not a calligrapher.
Because I do not want to erase. I don't want to use an erase.
Well, he's a doctor. He can't actually have good handwriting. That's not allowed.
Yeah, no, but it's so much better because it's in chalk,
Yeah.
where you could have easily erased it and started over.
Okay.
You're like, nah, I'm gonna just leave it like that for everyone to see.
I mean, I've tried to write on chalkboards, and my handwriting on chalkboard is terrible too.
Oh,
so.
chalk is terrible to write with, honestly.
Oh, it's the worst.
I haven't
Not as
written
bad as
anything on
pens,
chalk
but-
in forever. Yeah, I've always just used marker boards from now on.
Yeah. The only thing I'm comfortable writing with is pencil.
Same.
As a machinist,
I like the resistance that graphite gives.
it's all about
Even
the
my
paint
pencil
pen.
handwriting is horrible, actually.
Oh, well, I thought we were talking about boards and like stuff up on
I was talking
walls.
about writing in general.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
I
about the funny way you wrote it. But yeah.
write with like pens or pencils.
Yeah.
Like,
But anyway, one last thing before we get to the action scene,
Mhm.
and the thing I alluded to, Pietro. Let's talk for a minute about what he does, because he is an Atlesian scientist and one of the top Atlesian scientists. He created Penny.
Yeah.
But even though he works for Atlas, even though he is part of their security stuff, Aesop's knows him by name and stuff. They call, like, Clover calls him like, "Hey, what's up, Doc? It's been a while." So he is familial with Ironwood, the Aesops, that the Atlesians. He probably helped design a lot of their tech and a lot of their security measures. But even with that, he still finds time to run this little rinky-dink shack in Mantle where he can help the common people.
Which I think they call it a pharmacy. That is not what a pharmacy is.
Yeah.
Hey, whenever you're providing free healthcare, you don't care what it's
The word
called.
they're looking for is clinic. But anyway.
yeah,
Sorry.
clinic is the correct word for that.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't make sense because how is he getting to and from there quickly enough when he can't drive?
He probably has.
He
like,
just holds
personal
on to
shipping.
Penny and she flies up
automated,
there.
yeah,
That's how he
automated
does it.
pilot. He
Yep.
has Penny.
Yeah,
I mean, he
that
probably
makes
mostly works there and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, when you
Yeah.
guys need me, call me.
Yeah. So think about the trailer and think about what RWBY said in the trailer.
Mhm.
What's the the right thing to do isn't always the best thing to do.
Right.
No, the
Yeah.
best thing to do to thwart Salem is using Atlas's kingdom defenses to protect the relics, and try to just hold out
Yep.
till the end of time. But the right thing would be, like we talked about earlier, freedom. Not having a police state like this that causes fear and tension. So I think through Pietro and Penny, RWBY, this volume is going to find that balance between like doing the right thing and also doing something good for everyone.
Yeah. Because obviously, you can't allow people to be free if the gods are going to come and disintegrate them immediately due to what Salem accomplishes.
Oops.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know what Pietro reminds me of? And I'm bringing up Marvel. He doesn't remind me of Tony Stark. He reminds me of Tony Stark's dad whenever they portray the older version of him. Because, like, sure, he's basically... Because Pietro, like, if we want to, like, combine companies, it's like the private military arm of Halliburton or Raytheon is combined with the Red Cross. Is basically what Pietro is. He's like, yeah, I built these weapons of death, but I also, like, help people out, so it helps me sleep at night. Which that's probably not the reason why he does it, but he, probably finds a way to balance it out on the karma scale for him.
Well, as we
My
very
shitty
clearly,
analogy.
Builds Penny so that she can, at least, gives Penny the ability to fight so that she can protect others. But yeah.
I remember Todd Stark from the Ultimate version of Iron Man got murdered. So that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, so
Then,
following that scene, we have the action scene, which I thought was very well executed, but these sabers are weak as fuck.
yeah.
Like they are
Yeah.
pathetic even compared to Beowulf.
I don't know if y'all noticed this on the sabers, but I kind of appreciated it. But they had just like the little frost effect that was built onto their skins, which I did
Yeah, they
appreciate.
That's kinda cool. It seems like
They
they're
had-
mostly built for speed and stuff like that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they had
I
that,
thought that-
and they have also now, for the I can't even remembereth time, changed how it is that the Grimm now dissolve when they're killed.
Yeah,
So-
now they just like shatter and stuff like that.
They just
Yeah.
Thanos snap away essentially.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. But I do think it's
I,
kind
I
of.
guess I guess they weren't satisfied with the way it was before, so they decided to change it yet again. Who knows?
Maybe it's like regional. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I don't think that ever like mattered. Like we didn't even see Grimm like really disintegrating until Volume 3. So
Fair enough. Yeah.
like
I don't
we
know.
don't
It's-
we see
Yeah.
like in Volume 2, particularly with like the Mountain Glen, there's that scene where Weiss is standing in the circle with like a bunch of Beowulfs just like very slowly smoking and not actually going away. And then, we have Volume 4 with like a very important plot point being because the Nuclavi went up in a big plume of smoke that alerted the forest services.
Yeah.
Who just had some of the crossfire set fire to buildings? That's what I did.
Yeah, but then like
Yeah.
I like that they at least remembered that Blake's sword is broken and they
Yeah.
just had her use the gun. But
Yeah.
then
They also
this
had the
little
burn mark
pistol
on
is
Yang's arm
one-shotted.
from Adam.
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
that
they
was
still
kinda
kept that. I really
Yeah. I
I'm
know.
fine with like the characters, having each other's back and stuff. It's really goofy that like when you have someone's back who clearly like had it under control anyway, which is what happens with Blake and Yang, and I really don't like how people are like, my ship is canon, despite this not being any different than like
What they
literally
usually
any
do.
other time they've
Yeah.
done a fucking team fight. Like,
Yeah.
what would
RWBY
they have
should've let
thought
Oscar
if
get
it was
eaten.
Weiss? Yeah. Oh yeah, the same thing happens with RWBY and Oscar.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's just how team fights work sometimes, is that
Yeah.
you're not
He-
you're not necessarily focused on your team members, you're focused on your enemies and which one you're taking down at one time. You go one by one, and sometimes you both just end up at the same one.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
And
oh man, Blake, shot the saber that was gonna pounce on Yang, and then Yang like looked at her. Ship confirmed.
yeah.
but then Penny shot the thing that was trying to kill. Yeah, that was
Ship
trying to
confirmed
kill.
for Penny and Blake.
Penny and Blake's what's Penny and Blake's ship name? Let's start doing that. If this is
And
what
what
it
does that
takes
say about like?
Do you guys remember when like Renora like actually gave us evidence of a ship being like a possibility instead of this
Yeah.
crap? Do you guys remember
we
that?
got
Do you guys
Yeah.
remember when they actually cared about Renora? Do you remember that? Because I don't.
Hey, Nora was
Yes.
pretty peeved to have her boyfriend leaving her side.
True,
Also,
but
Sunflower did
that's
something in this episode.
but that's down to just like them like teasing it again though. I want actual stuff happening. Gee, like
Yeah,
I'm
I
still
agree. I know.
so annoyed about this
yeah.
because it's so
Uh,
obvious.
I
Just-
know.
it's
I
not
know, dude.
hard.
It hurts me
Hey,
too.
dude.
It's not
Dude.
difficult, and like I know I complain about them like like possibly the most because like I like Renora. That's my favorite thing in the show, or at least it was when it was a thing that actually like occurred. But like everybody
right.
knows it's obvious, and like even people that aren't super Renora fans, like yeah, I mean they should. Like it's just dumb. Like come on.
I'll tell you when it's going to happen, dude. At the
All right,
very
when?
end of the series, they will time
Fuck
skip
that.
to them
I'm gonna be
being married to each other.
They
so
pull
annoyed.
a Naruto with that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
Fuck
so
that.
annoyed if that's all we get. I'm gonna be so
Yeah.
annoyed if
I
that's all we
would
get.
I would too. I was
But you're
kinda
also
annoyed
right
when
that if they
Naruto did
really
that.
want us to ship these characters, they should be, utilizing the same, very clear
Yeah.
like relationship stuff
Yeah.
that they have done with Ren and Nora. Which
Like here's because I
because they've actually had a few of those.
Because I remember back then, like in the beginning, when the shipping stuff was more obvious. Yeah, people argued, but at that point, like it was less vehement and less angry because there was actual proof. So, like, if you shipped White Knight and somebody shipped Lancaster, you could both understand that there was
Yeah.
evidence for both of them. So people didn't really get as mad because there was actual like logic behind both of them at that point, right? So it's
Yeah.
fine. Now there's not really logic behind anything. So everybody's just finding every little teaser piece of information they can find. It's not even real information, fake news. And now everybody's just angry because nobody has proof of anything, and people are trying to find any little scrap they can find.
Yeah, and
Here's
then
the
you
that
got
doesn't
the
work.
people, and then you got
Here's the
people
thing,
trying
though,
to use the
dude.
comics that are like criminally terrible
And
Yeah.
of
when it comes
dubious
to continuity
canonicity.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, last
Here's the
volume we
thing,
had
though.
a very, we had something that actually did look like it could be distinctly Lancaster, Ruby, and John hugging, and everyone just ignored it.
Yeah.
Everyone did their
Yeah.
best to ignore that bit.
I think with Chad John though, we will be prepared for more evidence of him just getting with every chick that there is.
Yes.
Dude, I
All
swear
the
to God, unironically, I hope that like some of the guys on like Team Ace or even the girls are like just hitting on everyone and like whatever, like Team Junior and Team Ruby. Like I kind of would like that to be like a thing.
If that has to be what happens to like force something, fine. I mean, that's not really the best writing, but if that's what they have to do to like make Ren like nut up and actually like kiss Nora and like be a man about it
be
or
like,
whatever,
hey, this belongs to me.
like yeah, if that's what has to happen, fine. If that's the dumb, you know what I mean? If we have to go rescuers down under to make this happen, fine. By the way,
fair,
shout outs to anybody who gets that reference.
I do, as a matter of fact, get the reference. Yes, we need an
Yes.
Australian dude hitting on the
We
girl
need-
so that Red finally pops the question.
Yes, exactly. If that's what has to happen, fine.
We
Jealousy
need some
is
random
a
girl hitting on
perfectly good
John, so everyone on Team Ruby is all like, "No, he's ours.
Yeah.
The
So-
Chad haircut is ours."
John is
So
our breeding
getting
stallion.
back
Get your
on-
own.
Getting back on track. Next thing we need to discuss is Penny being back.
Of course.
Okay, can I talk? Can I talk about this?
Sure,
Hold on,
yeah,
hold
go.
on, hold
Yeah,
on.
Yeah,
Didn't you call this first out of all of us?
yeah. Wait, who did actually call it first? Was it Meteor or was it Robert?
It was Robert.
It was
Yeah,
a
You
little.
was
Robert-
right.
Media can go
You, I
first.
was right.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Fuck you all. We were right.
Yeah, I was.
Yes.
I technically predicted it first because I had it in RWBY Beyond like within a week of Volume 3 ending.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I mean I can't take full credit for thinking Penny was gonna come back because she's a goddamn motherfucking robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose nature we were never explained.
Mm-hmm.
We never got any clarification on like her soul and stuff and where it comes from. We never got any further explanation on what Ironwood was saying about like the door transfer machine is classified. Don't worry about it. We never got any further exploration on the just inherent implications of this world that is focused on the power of the human soul and then having that come from an artificial person to the point where thinking about it, especially with Volume 6, I can't believe I literally just thought about this. Gods come back, wipe out humanity. Do the androids go with them?
Scary thought.
We'll never fucking know, and we'll never
That's the
know
plan.
any of
Transform
the rest
everyone's
of that
body into
too.
artificial
Yeah, we'll
blood,
never
and
know
then just
because
let
that's
sail
not
and
the
have her way.
because-
Media's phone
we'll
lights
never-
up with a
we'll
text
never-
message from the FBI. Stay right there.
Like we'll never
Except
know
I
because
imagine the
that's not
gods would
what's gonna
probably
happen.
destroy the entire planet along with all of humanity, but
Yeah, we'll never know.
Well, because
whether or not Penny
that's
would go
not what's
with
going to
them,
happen.
because
It's
that's not what's gonna happen with
that's
the
not
gods.
what's going to happen.
But there's a lot of really interesting questions that Volume 2 and especially Volume 3 brought up that can only be answered if Penny is in the story.
is around and stuff.
yeah, we did talk about that
Yeah.
too.
Well,
Yeah,
the
She
other
will
thing
be
too
in the
with
story
with Penny,
to
which
fight monsters, though.
I feel that a few people missed is that Pietro is like, yeah, my daughters. So there's either A, multiple Pennies,
I don't
or
think
B,
I don't think he said that as like a plural. He said that as a possessive.
My daughter
Like
is
you're my daughter's friend, like apostrophe s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
Or
apostrophe s.
My daughter's told me so much about you, as in like daughter.
My daughter has
My
told me
daughter
so much
has.
about you. Yeah, it's apostrophe s. I'm pretty positive.
Although again, like we until we
Although
know
for all we know, yeah, she's just
the
her
nature
like
of her soul, we can't know whether she's even able to be mass produced.
yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like seeing. It's like
I'm still thinking her soul was like transported out of an ill body and into
Yeah,
a machine.
I mean that's
or the core or her core that they're talking about.
thought.
So I want to. So yeah, we all knew Penny was coming back, and that's why with like the reveal that Penny was back and stuff like that, it felt a little lackluster. Like it felt like it was like it just went right into this, Penny being Penny, running up and hugging and tackling Ruby and stuff like that. It just went right into the comedy and just, dropped all gravitas and stuff like that,
Yeah.
when this is, should have been a very emotional moment here, kind of, Ruby seeing like, holy crap, this is, my friend, who I let down, who I watched die because I wasn't fast enough, stuff like that. And there's just none of that here. It's just, she's back, she hugs Ruby and she's goofy, which is like fine. That's how Penny works, but it feels like they're not taking this scene seriously, which makes it, I don't know, which I feel brings it down a lot, especially because, and here's what I think happened with this, is that basically Miles and Carrie realized, okay, pretty much everyone knows she's coming back. We know she's coming back, and like Miles, Carrie, the animators, everyone involved in this, not just Miles and Carrie, not just the writers, was like, the music just didn't, the music, the animation, none of it, did anything to make this feel like the emotional, like a deep emotional moment that it should have been. and I think it's because they were like, okay, we all know she's coming back. Most of the audience know she's coming back. Let's just do this thing. But it should have been thinking about, what do we want the audience to feel in this moment? What do we want the audience to feel like? What would the characters be feeling in this moment? And to do that, all they had to do was watch Avengers Endgame, watch the scene where like Peter and Tony see each other again, have Penny just run up to Ruby, chattering about it, a bunch of stuff, Ruby just looking at her, all these emotions going through her mind, then finally hugging her. And it would have been perfect. Like, so it just feels like, they just completely,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I had no problem with it. Maybe pacing wise, because of what happens next. I think this scene would work better if it cut to credits after that.
Yeah, she just
because it does
visits
it does really seem like this episode like jerks back and forth between tones. It has like real tonal whiplash problems.
I don't know.
Which
It
are
just feels like
which are basically nitpicks. Like, yeah, it destabilizes the structure of the episode and the volume as a whole, but your average audience member isn't even going to notice. Your average audience member doesn't care about tonal shifts.
Yeah, I guess it just doesn't feel like there's really a proper this is treated with the proper gravitas that it should have been, that it should have been used with, and like the emotion that it should have had. But I don't know. I guess that's just me, but I've seen a lot of other people complain. I've also seen people saying that, like, I don't know, complaining about Penny having all of her memories and remembering everything.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
that's a complaint.
That was always a headcanon, because for all we know, the memories could be part of her core. And it's even said that it took Pietro a lot of work and a lot of time to get her to that point. Remember, she's probably been back in some capacity for over a year now.
Yeah. And so, I'm not, and again, I don't think they need the amnesia arc. Again, I think people wanted that because they wanted, there to be some, like, again, because I think also because they felt like, there wasn't enough emotion. So like, oh, well, what if there was amnesia? To those people, I have just one question. And like, what then?
Amnesia's never a good direction to go.
Where does the story go from there? How does that amnesia subplot, fit into the story? Like, what, how does that work beyond that initial gut punch of, oh no, she doesn't remember them? Like, so no, we did not need an amnesia sub arc. They could have done a million other things to make this feel, emotional and give it gravity. So
yeah.
I mean, they still hug and stuff. It was just that it was Penny that.
I know it just.
Yeah.
I know it just doesn't feel like feel like how somebody would respond to seeing their friend who they thought was dead.
Yeah, I have to give praise to Penny's voice actors for not missing a beat. She has not been Penny's in the story or in RWBY in any capacity for the last 3 years. And she jumped right back into a role like she's been here the entire time. And give credit to that.
It's fun. It's kind of cringy, but Penny's kind of cringy.
I'm a little on her new design. It is loosely based on artwork that Dishwasher did for her. The outfit's completely different. The only thing it has in common is that she has the bow and long hair.
I like the new design quite a bit. I like the longer hair. I think it looks better. And also, I think she's going to join up with the team that's going to bang out Chad John. And so we'll
as long as John doesn't fist her, everything will be okay.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Oscar just lost his only remaining excuse for existing because they now have another P for Juniper. But anyway.
Yeah. So am I the only one who's terrible enough to have?
That's way better than Oscar.
Oscar, yes. Sorry, what was that again, Media?
So am I the only one terrible enough to have not only read A Knight and His Maidens, but had the title of the chapter with Penny in it flash in my mind? Sensational Synthetic.
Oh no.
That's
probably not.
Penny's like, I've always wanted to try out this internal vibration and heating feature. So here's my problem too, and I'm gonna agree with people too, where it's like there's There's not a lot of gravitas. Like there's no like lost memories or any of that sort of stuff. But they're all gonna hand wave that away. Where it's like, oh yeah, we just had to we spent time just defragmenting our hard drive a lot, and everything was fine. My only problem was the reaction from the main cast minus RWBY, which was like they were basically the writers were telling the voice actors to say a line, telling the audience exactly how to feel.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there listening to this. It's like I could feel someone hitting me over the head with a fucking tuna right now. That's how it feels like.
Like they were just like, okay, somebody needs to comment on
it. It's cheap and it doesn't work for one reason, and I can't blame this episode for.
Yeah.
Ain't not a single one of those fuckers gave a shit about Penny.
That's the actual truth.
Yeah. Although I do appreciate Nora's line of, I can't tell, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, I can't tell if this answer, it was something like, I can't tell if this answers all my questions or brings up 1,000 more, and then...
No, it's I've got 1,000,000 questions, and Pietro's like, I've got 1,000 answers.
Yeah, which is good. I appreciate that because it lets us know, we're not like, okay, we have not forgotten all the questions that Penny's existence brings up, and we will answer them. Just not right now because...
But that's also Penny acting as...
Because we got a rest of the plot of the volume to start off.
Well, can we just call Nora the narrator now? Because that's what she's always been in the first episode of every volume so far.
Yeah. She kind of is audience insert question person.
Yeah.
Which was originally Jean's role, but I'm not sour about that.
Yeah. It's still fine. Like in my in my fanfic, I have Jean asking a bunch of questions to let my audience know there are going to be answers to these questions later on. So, but yeah.
But anyway, after meeting up with Penny, our whole team gets captured by ninjas with bolos.
No. They weren't captured by ninjas with bolos. They were captured by the Stasi with bolos. Get it straight, Coop. They got captured by the secret police. Now,
captured by the Aesops.
No, they're the Stasi. I'm not calling them the Aesops. Fuck that. They're the Stasi.
Either way,
they are the Stasi. Let's be honest. They are definitely the Stasi.
Also, forgot to mention this earlier, but Aesops, fables.
Yeah.
Even though like
one of them is probably going to be a rabbit, a hare. The hammer guy's probably based on the tortoise.
Yeah. Even though Sage from Team Sun was supposed to be based on Aesops. Who the fuck even cares anymore?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Forgot about that guy.
They were forgotten so much they were relegated to a book. Not even a comic, a book. How does that
feel? Like a paragraph in a lore book.
But everyone loves Aesops now because they are justice-oriented super soldiers who go around just solving crimes and making up rhymes.
Yep.
Do they have a dog? Wait. Oh god. Now I feel like we need to edit in that image
head on the Wolf-Honest.
No. We need to edit in the Wolf-Honest receiving the Medal of Honor in place of Trump putting the Photoshop Medal of Honor on the dog that attacked that terrorist person.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect. But so you need to roll back.
Fact check that. Let's just let that linger for a second.
Like we need to roll this back just a smidge before they get boloed. I don't know if they did that for dramatic effect where like everything faded to white, or did they get caught in someone's stand? I kind of like to think they got caught in someone's stand.
I think it was just
build
up. I think it was build up. It was like, oh, something's gonna happen. Let's pretend like we didn't see the trailer. And then Ren, who has always been like the most attuned out of the group, is like, I sense something. My spider senses are tingling, but not enough for me to actually dodge this attack.
I will say this though. I appreciate how
that could just be how tough these guys are.
Go straight to business and just immediately incapacitate everyone on the team.
Grab weapons, grab anything that could be a weapon, including the lamp. Maybe he knows what it is. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's gonna.
Nah, he doesn't. He doesn't seem like he's like, huh?
What the heck is this thing? Yeah.
And then they throw him in the truck, and
then they throw him in the party van.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
another guy in there with that.
I don't think so.
I thought I saw like another guy next to Crow, or I don't know, on Crow's side of it. Like I thought I
Hey,
saw
they're
a guy
just putting the two drunks together, okay? Gosh.
Yeah, they put the drunks in there with
Yeah,
them.
there is a guy there, but it's so dark. It's hard to tell, and
Yeah.
it might actually be one of the Aesop's guys who's like prison guard there.
Okay.
Or
a
yeah,
prison
they just
guy.
have one of the guys. Yeah, it honestly would make sense if they have one of the Aesop guys just sit in the back of the party wagon.
Okay. Yeah, it was probably nothing. Yeah, that was just something I thought that I noticed, a little detail there. Like, hey, yeah, they're not just they're not just here to arrest these guys. These guys have a bunch of other people that they gotta arrest or whatever.
Hey,
Because
whenever
of
you're the secret police, you got a lot of work to do on a daily basis. People gotta disappear. You gotta like firebomb someone's house. I mean, you gotta do a lot of stuff, and you gotta watch your fellow officers so you don't jump across the razor wire to the side that's where the Americans are at.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're going to see Ironwood anyway. So good for them.
Yeah, I like everyone's expression. Like Ruby is looking back, Ren's just sulking, Nora's examining her cuffs, like, ooh, what's this? Yeah, everyone fucking
And
defiant, and Jean's like, oh my fucking god, this is gonna go on my permanent record. My life is ruined. Oh my god.
I'll never hear the end of this from my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Tara's gonna find out about this and tell Saffron.
Crow
God,
is
no,
clearly just used to it because he gets thrown in jail because he's drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
like this is just a
Back to the
normal
drunk tank.
Tuesday for me.
Yeah.
They make me pay rent at the drunk tank now because of how often I am there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the episode. They're obviously going to meet Ironwood. I don't think there's really anything to theorize on that we didn't cover with the trailer. This again because this episode was pretty predictable. Part of that was the trailer showed
Which is
too
fine.
much. The trailer showed too much. It showed them getting captured. It showed them working for Ironwood. It showed them talking to him and saying that they'll help
Yeah,
him.
it was either them getting arrested or getting
yeah.
captured by the White Fang, who suddenly reappeared for some reason.
Who reappeared after having been slaughtered by Adam last volume.
Oops.
And so
And reformed.
yeah, one last thing before we wrap up with the episode and kind of get to questions. Some people sent us questions. A lot of them we've already answered just by going through the episode.
Wait, where are these questions at? Are they at our email that we sometimes use?
I looked at the email. No one sent me email, but I got Twitter DMs and YouTube comments
we got it.
to pull from.
Okay.
So
Alright.
Jason Liebrecht. I've gotten lots of questions about Jason Liebrecht. That seems to be the hot button issue, especially with this episode.
That's Crow's VA, right?
No. Yes, but here's the thing. I completely forgot that Crow had a new VA until after this episode when everyone stopped talking about it. Now, I want to make this very clear here, okay, to my audience, because I'm sure that 50% of you just heard me say he's a better voice actor than Vic was, while the other 50% heard me say he's a worse voice actor than Vic said. That is not what I'm saying at all. I am saying that they sound exactly the same, and neither is better than the other. So
yeah,
like
also
like, even if there was a noticeable change, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. It wouldn't necessarily make one better than the other.
My only thought is, who cares?
That too.
My only thought
be
is
surprised.
Too many people. That is the answer, dude.
Yeah.
Too many people.
My only thought is fuck all women and free my niggy Vic. So
Okay.
that's all I care about.
Yeah. So it's just weird, and it's
Coop speaks for himself on this podcast, just so everybody
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
I also speak for all the rest of you. You all feel the exact
The,
same
No,
way.
you
the
don't.
entire point of the lineup of the podcast
I actually
is so we could have
genuinely
dissenting
have no
opinions a little
idea
bit.
what's going on with Vic, and I really don't care. It's
Yeah.
not
So
my issue. I don't care.
My
I don't know.
Yeah, my issue with the discourse around this is real. It really is a both sides thing. there are good people on both sides, but there's also really bad people on both sides. There's some people that just are never going to accept Jason Liebrecht, and I hope he understands that, and I hope he doesn't let that, get to him. Because the whole Vic situation is so just really shady, like how they handled that. Between stuff like the unceremonious firing, Monica Rial being caught lying about it, the people at the cons having, different interpretations of the events that they witnessed, and Rooster Teeth not taking the high road by like not even crediting Vic as Crow's voice actor in the official lore book.
Also, not telling their employees to keep their mouth shut about it because it's a sensitive topic that they shouldn't.
Legal proceedings are still kind of going on. Vic did lose his case. We talked about that last podcast. Vic lost the suit that he filed. But yeah, there are people on the I Stand With Vic crowd who are being really hateful toward Jason Liebrecht, even though he's doing a fine job.
Yeah,
but
Jason Liebrecht
I think the more grievous issue. Yeah, I think I think he's trying to make the best of a bad hand. My more grievous issue, and I've already talked about this on Twitter, which you can follow at EA Mediocrity 4, is with the Kick Vic crowd. Historical revisionism is a really fucked up thing to do, especially when you're talking about someone's life work. And pretending that Vic Mignogna was always bad just because it's convenient to not like him now is really fucked up. Yeah. And unlike the I Stand With Vic crowd, they have the Kick Vic crowd has prominent people who have a lot of sway, the kind of people who can galvanize the fan base and weaponize them against dissenters posting shit like that. I'm not going to name any names here, but if you look at my Twitter, you already know who I'm talking about. And because you can like both, guys. You really can. And blocking people for saying you can like both and for pointing out the good work that Vic did, especially in Volume 6, is only making you look like a fucking asshole who doesn't actually care about the quality of the show and only wants political brownie points.
Yeah, what people have to understand is that historically the United States has not always been this politically divided, even fairly recently. You can see charts and graphs and statistics that show that, and I think it was like 98 or 2000, like they did like this thing where relatively most people were fairly in the middle, and even people that were like Democrats and Republicans were fairly moderate Democrats and Republicans, right? And it was very easy to switch, and people like saw eye to eye on a lot of things, right? Right now, it's extremely polarized. That's not going to last forever, and people need to understand that.
I'm not sure if it actually is as polarized as people think it is, but
it is more polarizing. I mean, there's statistics to back that up. But the point is, it's not going to last like that forever. And when people go back to a more mixed and messier but better, form of politics where it's not this divided, you're going to look like an idiot when you're really strongly on one side, because let's be honest, one side is not going to just win. That's not how it happens. So you're going to look like an idiot when you are just trying to win brownie points like this.
That's why I wash my hands of the Vic situation until we have something more concrete, and why I straight up said, because we did a podcast right after that story first broke that he was out, because that was like around RTX time. And I basically said, no, this is what's happening in the story. We're not gonna be caught being dumbasses in that regard. We'll be caught being dumbasses in plenty of other fucking more creative and humorous
and entertaining ways.
Yes.
And what I'm saying has nothing to do with like specifically Vic, because I know nothing. I mean, media knows more about than I do. I know nothing about what's going on there. I know that he's accused of stuff and he lost some part of some case about it and he doesn't have work anymore. That's all I know. I got nothing else and I have no thoughts on it and opinion on it whatsoever.
Yeah,
Just
we
like
don't
how people act about things and just generally trying to score political brownie points instead of like actually thinking about art and creativity.
Grifters
That's
trying to
my
pick
thought
up
is.
their upcomies.
Yeah, we don't really need to talk about it anymore.
That's true. Let's just move on to
Yeah,
it.
next
So-
next
so-
question.
What's
Mind
the
drop.
next thing?
Jason Liebrecht did a mind drop.
So this one, these are all from GQ Smith.
Oh, excellent work, GQ.
So
You're doing a good job.
he
Keep it
he
up.
asked 4 questions. Do you think Penny's return wasn't emotional enough? I don't like the negative framing of that question. But
kind of
we
addressed
kind of already answered that.
Yeah.
Kinda,
It could
but
have been
not
better.
really.
Like, I don't know. It's like it's done. It's whatever. So yeah, it could have been better, but it's
It was
like,
just too
it's not
brief.
horrible.
Like they'll probably
And she
get
does not
more
need
into
and she
it.
did not need amnesia for it to be emotional. So
Yeah, it was just that it was a brief part of the episode, so they could hit like super.
Penny was on a powered walkway. She
Yeah.
power walked away on screen and then immediately power walked off screen.
Yeah.
And by power walkway, she just flew out of the fucking frame.
So his next question is, do you think Penny's return was too soon? I don't think it was soon enough.
nah,
No, yeah,
Um,
we could have used her a long time
nah.
ago.
They
Yeah.
didn't. They didn't need to drag it out or anything. Like that. Like we all knew it was gonna happen. Like I said, we all knew it was gonna happen. They didn't need to drag it out. So no.
If they
Yeah,
if
and
they
then-
wanted to drop this on us at volume 6, like the theory and hype train, like in the off season, would have been ridiculous.
Actually, hold on a second. I'm actually going to disagree with my fellow podcast mates again, and even though I usually
Mhm.
don't this much, I actually think it was well placed because this is when they get to Atlas.
Yeah,
Or
that
mental.
there is
So I
that.
actually think it's exactly in the right place.
Yeah.
personally.
I think we could have used a hint in Volume 4, and that was one of my complaints with Volume 4 back
fair.
when we first started this podcast. But yeah, when it came to like Volumes 5 and 6, I was like, until we get to Atlas, it's not right for her to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe she could have been stationed in Argus along with Cordovan. That would have been the absolute earliest I would have accepted it after Volume 4.
Having a
I'm
little
not
bit of
really done with her in
foreshadowing
that
in Volume
situation.
4 could have worked out good, I think.
Yeah. Then one thing I want to say is that he comes back, it doesn't make her death pointless. It's not bringing someone back from the dead if they were a fucking robot.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
Also, have you been watching the last 44 episodes of the show since her death? Literally, everything that has happened since her death has been a result and a consequence of her death.
yeah, like they even
Yep.
say in this episode that like the
Like,
fall of
but it-
Beacon is the reason why there's the police state. The fall of Beacon was this world's 9/11.
Yeah, and
Essentially,
reason
yes.
her death
And
was-
Penny's death
been-
was was the 747 exactly.
I would
So-
say
It
it's
wasn't-
World Trade
it
Center
wasn't
7, but
because
okay.
Yeah.
It
When
showed
all a
people
death
that, hey,
does-
there's a robot here. That's basically what the entire point of it was.
Yeah.
They were like just
Uh,
trying to show off that she was a robot.
Yeah.
So then
When all a death does is remove a character, you shouldn't have had that character to begin with.
well, in Penny's
Well,
case,
okay, maybe
it was
not,
with Penny's case, it was the equivalent of her going comatose and the main character thinking she was dead because she was in a coma and she was out of it for probably until Weiss left. Now to just trying to rationalize why she wasn't hinted at or anything before is because she wasn't up and running again until after Weiss had left Atlas.
Yeah.
I was going to say
So
that I
no,
completely
none of this
agree with.
so none of this invalidates or makes Penny's death unimportant or inconsequential.
I was going to say, though, I completely agree with Robert, though, because the only reason to kill Oscar is so he doesn't exist anymore, and because he should have, and that proves that he shouldn't have existed in the first place.
Yes.
So that is completely correct.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Dude's like, checkmate, atheist.
So
Checkmate, Oscar fans. How can anybody be an Oscar fan? Seriously, when he's that
Do
bad.
you understand what fandom we're in?
I know.
Because he's cute. Anyway.
Everyone
He's
can
not,
be
though.
a something. There are fans of the most obscure characters still out there.
Obscure characters I can understand more than very obviously
Yeah.
terrible characters.
Yeah, I know someone whose Discord status right now is literally #Henry Marigold gay.
See, that's fine because it's funny and it doesn't matter and nobody cares. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Oscar actively makes the show worse with his presence, so that's a problem.
All right.
Next question.
Next question.
Do you think this is the weakest OP so far? Again, I don't like how closed ended and negative this question is. Song-wise, it's probably on the lower rungs. Animation-wise, I would say it's the best.
Animation-wise, it's good. Song-wise,
So I guess
it's actually pretty shit. It's very generic, and the lyrics are extremely repetitive.
I'm just
It's
kind of
not
glad we're out of the
very
grunge butt metal that we used to have, and we got a
Yeah.
little bit more hip hop.
My thing is, I don't know, if I feel like I need the entire song to like judge it, then it's probably not that great.
I thought we were
'Cause,
talking
like,
about the episode.
this will be the day. Like this will be the day. Like that song, I didn't need the whole song to like know that song was a banger, and it still is honestly a cool song. But yeah, this one's not as I don't know. I'll listen to it a few more times.
I thought we were talking about the opening episode.
Oh no,
This one's
like OP.
Oh,
This one's just
I like
about very
OP? Nah.
Yeah, OP, that guy on 4chan that's gay.
The animation was good though. I liked like overall like the animation and everything of it.
Oh, it looks good. Like it's
Yeah,
I would
it's fine.
argue it's the most anime of all their openings.
Yeah, it's fine.
the one portion of this animated opening that some people don't like, and I am of a mixed opinion on, is the silhouette effect that shows up in it.
Yeah.
Some people have said that they really don't like it. Some people say that they really do. Me personally,
I mean, we used to have those all the time when we had when the first show was first starting with all the trailers and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's not new.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not new, but it's just whether or not I like it. Like just because it wasn't new.
It's a
back
taste
then.
thing.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like-
whatever.
Like me personally, I don't really have an opinion on it. but some
Another
people-
question.
Someone last question GQ asked was what we thought about Weiss throwing the guy in the dumpster, and we kind of already said that.
Again, we talked about
There's
probably
no
not the way you would handle that in real life, but could have been a lot worse.
You would legit handle it that way in real life sometimes. Sometimes you fight drunk people. It happens. This happens to me. I've been drunk while I did it, but I still did it.
I would wait for him to throw the first punch before I'd respond with that, but
Just gotta let him fall over,
Gang would
trip
have
on the
handled it
curb, and
worse.
piss his pants. That's all you gotta do for drunk person. You just gotta walk away.
Often they throw
they
a
should have just
bottle at
walked
you.
away, but it was fine. It was okay. It's not a big deal.
And so, final question, and this is from Unknown Ortiz on YouTube. What do we think of Aesop's? Don't really have enough to go on. I like their design.
There's
They
a
look
hot brown
interesting.
anime lady in it.
The
Yeah.
guy needs to know how to hold his hammer. Other than that, I hope they're not another Team Coffee. I hope they're the Team Coffee that we should have been, guiding Team Ruby and Team Juniper or Team Junior and, helping them be better and stuff like that, and not just stealing the spotlight all over the place the way Team
Yeah.
Coffee did. But,
Unironically, though, if they used the jealousy and competition to spark off some of these potential ships that have been boiling away on this proverbial stove,
it will be
that
amazing.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
it wouldn't be bad. Hell, it would. If you want to trigger the fandom, give Yang a male romance interest in that team. That'll get everyone ass blasted
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
fast.
I would love for
Even though we
for
know
the
she's
team
attracted
to
to
kind
men.
of be, I would love for the team to be kind of divided with the whole Atlas and Mantle situation, because they haven't had like a real conflict to divide them since the end of Volume 1. The closest thing was like Yang and Blake kind of being on pissy terms because of Volume 3 and onward, and then that got resolved. And so then, like, other than that kind of being divided, but not like fully, the only time that they've ever been like truly divided on a subject was like what to do with Blake and Weiss in the Volume 1 finale, which got completely undercooked and then hand waved, and then show completely forgot that Weiss was a little bit racist in Volume.
Maybe one day Weiss will be racist again, just as.
You know what? I
She is
actually
the embodiment of
That's
white guilt.
probably unlikely.
You know
she's
what
the
I
kind of person. She's the kind of person who was racist and is so like hates that part of herself so much that she just projects onto other races and
tosses them
starts
in
getting
dumpster.
offended and starts getting offended on other people's behalf.
Oh gosh.
Oh man, so here's a thought that I just had.
Well,
is,
I
like,
mean, at least so far, every time they've shown Weiss like doing something like that, she's been right. Let's be honest. Like, she wasn't wrong here. She wasn't wrong when she almost like gored that like bitchy like rich lady. Like, and she hasn't been wrong yet. So if it doesn't get to that
I mean,
point,
she was
then
still
it makes
impulsive.
sense. Like, I don't mind. I agree with everything she's done so far. She's still the best written character in the show.
This
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
I actually kind
I
of hope
just
what they
want-
do for Weiss in this volume is like kind of want her to be just like a little bit unhinged a bit. Like she's kind of caught like a little off guard, maybe acts a little bit more out of character. Because she is kind of like a fish out of water now. Like coming back into her home, but it's not the same home that she left. So I kind of like a little bit of a rationality of her being on edge would actually be kind of nice from her.
Yeah.
As, like,
I just want
again. I just hope they develop Whitley.
Yeah,
Give
I
them
just want a
development.
scene or a flashback of some kind where Weiss says the N-word. That's all I want.
Weiss says the gamer word. Get down, Mrs. Obama.
Mm.
Oh, boy.
Oh no.
Is there another question, Media?
No, that was all the questions that
Okay.
I had.
Well, all right,
So
then.
if we're ready to
Well,
wrap up,
But we'll go to our ending opinion of the
episode.
episode.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I personally was I found the episode quite predictable, and so I was somewhat bored by it, but I didn't think it was bad. I just wasn't excited by it. That's all it is.
Fair enough. Want me to go next?
Yeah, you go next, Robert.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely not as good as last volume's opening, stuff like that. Last volume's pilot. It was still I think it was still pretty good and serviceable. I brought up a lot of questions and stuff like that, but they're mostly just little things and stuff like that. And so I really think that this was a very okay episode. There's no real damage been done yet or anything like that. The characters still, moving. They're taking, they're trying to figure things out, making decisions themselves. And I don't know. I kind of like that it's still. Oh yeah, something I actually thought about with this is that I like how it still feels like they're flying by the seat of their pants, like they're still, struggling to figure everything out because they're young and stuff like that. So yeah, they would have a bit of a hard time with everything, being arrested and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm liking that. I think that's a kind of a unique take on it. So that they don't always know exactly what they're doing. It's very realistic and it makes them very relatable. So yeah, I'm enjoying this and I'm looking forward to what happens. So yeah, it was okay.
Your turn, dude.
So I was a little meh on this episode first watching it, and then after looking over it and having like this conversation, this is actually one of those cases where I like it a bit more now.
Good.
It's not the best opening, but again, I my thing is this was not meant to be an opening, right? We know that. We know this was not meant to be an opening episode, but they switched it to that. And
I think it was actually
Just
better as an opening than a finale.
I would have wanted it as the finale personally. That's me.
Well,
But
don't
that's
really know.
Fair enough.
Too much
way.
time has passed since we first watched Volume 6.
Either way, just as a continuation from where they left off before, I like it. And I like the way that Mantle is portrayed, as I mentioned before. That's probably one of my favorite things. I like that Penny's back. I like where she came back. We can argue about the emotion of her coming back, but I think the fact that it's so obvious that she was coming back, it doesn't need to be as emotional personally. It doesn't bother me as much. I agree it probably should have been more emotional than silly. I agree with that. But I don't really care that much. I really don't. She's not a character I really loved ever. Like, I don't dislike her, and I'm glad she's back. She can kill Oscar, hopefully, or at least replace him. But I don't feel like that's that big of a deal. I like her dad. I like him as a character. I think he'll be interesting, especially because his alliance is kind of weirdly split. I like that Winter has gone all Ironwood mode, actually, and I think that will be an interesting dynamic between her and Weiss. I like that Winter is just back, because I've been asking for this for almost this long, actually for as long as I've been asking for Ren and Nora to kiss and just get together. I've been asking for both of those things since before even this podcast started.
Yep.
So yeah,
John,
I'm happy about that too.
We like, as we're recording this, actually, this would have been like basically exactly 3 years since we first got on voice together and started talking. We're like, you know what? Maybe we should have a podcast.
Yep, that's true. And we did. So basically, this is our fourth season that we're podcasting.
Whose terrible idea was that? Because the history's kind of sketch on that.
That would be you, High Power.
Yeah. I don't think I was drunk whenever I proposed that. That's probably why I don't remember.
The podcasts were completely your idea. Otherwise, you wouldn't be up. No, just kidding.
But
someone's about to lose their mod status.
But yeah, I'm gonna say, Ren and Nora need to get together. I'm still annoyed by that. At least Winter's back finally. I can stop complaining about that. And we really can't judge. What I'm nervous / excited about is that we haven't seen an episode with the new writers contributing yet. And we really can't judge the season as a whole before that happens. So my jury's still like kind of out right now, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
We'll definitely have a clearer picture on I guess it's my thoughts now. We'll definitely have a clearer picture on it after next episode. I was fine with this. I think it's kind of average as far as premieres go, and I think all the premieres have been good. Even like volumes 5. I said that the worst volume premiere was volume 3, because volume 3 was ugly as shit. So like this is nowhere near as good as like the volume 6 opening, or even the volume 1 opening. I would even put like the volume 5 opening above this. But they're really setting up stuff. They put a lot more effort into the camera work and stuff with that fight, and with the background details that make this it makes this feel like a legit show. Which we had a couple episodes like that. We had a couple episodes like that in volume 6, including the premiere of volume 6. But this it really does seem like they're gearing up for something a little more ambitious this time around, because volume 6, as good as that was, as much as we liked it, it still boiled down to get the relic to the place. Whereas this seems like what they're going for is more what volume 5 should have been, which was fucking Avatar season 2.
Yeah.
It's really look like it's going to be a lot closer to that than volume 5 ended up being.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not disappointing this time.
For me,
I mean, nothing will ever match that. That's arguably the greatest season. It is the greatest season of animated television of all time. It's arguably one of the best seasons of television, period, of all time. I do really feel that way.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. Other like random little thoughts. I mean, I already covered everything in this podcast, and also the important stuff was also my review. Which I'm starting to do reviews first, podcast second. This volume, because I'm also doing National Novel Writing Month, and doing it this way just it really helps my pipeline be a little more evened out.
You better
than
submit some
prior
erotica
years.
for that competition. You gotta hit him with like a real good like left hook.
I'm doing Night Watch. I am also writing Spot on the side, but that's totally
Yeah, the National Novel Writing Month, you have to write your own original novel in
yeah.
it, not
You can write
fanfic.
original smut.
Yeah, you could write erotica.
Yeah,
The looks like you see those little spinning things at all.
But so for me with this episode, like it was, to me this is like the most tame opening, like first episode we've had in RWBY. It was definitely like a solid okay, like nothing crazy or whatever about it. Like thoughts for like the season as a whole. It's like I need to get at least to like halfway through the show before I can figure it out on what my opinion is of the volume as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Snowbird getting some competition. That'll be interesting if like that actually becomes like a thing.
Joking.
Or like hell, even fucking Robin Hood could have some wonky ass stand where she just like negates other person's stand. So then Crow's like, I love you because you cancel out my bad luck charm. And she's like, I don't even know who you are. Why are you always hanging around me? You're weird. I don't cancel out your stand because I like you or anything, Baka.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So is that it?
Yeah, I'm done.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
that's
so
everything.
if you like this podcast and you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon because subscriptions don't actually mean anything anymore. Consider following me on Twitter at EA Mediocrity 4, and support me on Patreon. Link will be in the description. As far as other things I had to plug, I have tons of fan fictions you could read. I'm not actively working on any of them right now because I'm doing National Novel Writing Month. But you can also join the Discord, where you could talk to, where me and High Powered and Coop at least are very active. On top of that,
I'm too busy
I've
to
been,
be active. Sorry.
Yeah,
I-
I've been
I'm
doing
not busy at
reactions.
all, and I'm
Yeah.
even less busy now.
On top of
So-
that, I'm gonna plug Team Frostbite real quick because I've been doing Dr. Stone and My Hero Academia reactions with them. And yeah, that's about all I have.
Okay.
So the only thing that I have new is that the RWBY rewrite that we worked on the Discord as a team for a very long time, and
Is that getting
basically-
unmothballed?
That is getting
Yes.
unmothballed. I have created the first 2 chapters and posted them to fanfiction.net under Coop DM. So if you look up that author name, you will find it. I should be working on the 3rd chapter sometime later this week, after I get some other stuff done, particularly the staples taken out of the side of my fucking head. But yeah, so that should be going, and we'll see if I have to do it weekly for now, or if I just churn out a bunch of it, because I literally have very little to do, so I might as well do a bunch of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like the only.
And sorry.
Anyone
Go
else?
ahead. Oh yeah. So yeah, check out my fan fiction at 2020 RWBY. Yeah, just started on volume 5, and good place to go if you're wondering what a good alternative to Oscars existed and would be. Yeah, pretty much get rid of him. Also, yeah, make a few changes in there. So yeah, hopefully you guys can check that out and enjoy it. So yeah.
Alrighty.
Oscar doesn't exist in it. You automatically, it's enjoyable.
Yep, exactly.
Well, it's been a pleasure. So everyone, y'all have a good night.
We'll
Or
see you
day.
next week.
We're back now.
Yeah.
We're back now.
bat
Get
time.
used to it.
And also, I'm gonna have a consistent
Hell yeah.
upload schedule. So same bat time, same bat place, same bat channel, same batshit crazy podcast crew.
Yeah.